Hi students, this is Naresh Babu Javaji. Welcome back to JP Physics Academy. Students, in the last video we have discussed about the units, types of units, okay, and where do we use the units, how do we use the units, all those things we discussed in that last video. Now today's in this video we are going to discuss the uses and the importance of the multiples and submultiples of the units. Okay students, let's go to the video. So first one is multiples and submultiples. What are the multiples and submultiples, and what is the use of these multiples and submultiples? Let us try to know the complete information in this video, right? These multiples and submultiples are used to change or introduced to change the magnitude and size of the units in the physics. Of course, sorry, we can use these submultiples and multiples values in the different various branches in the physics only. Okay. So how do we convert? How do we change? How do we concise the units values? Let us discuss now. So that I am going to give some important multiples and submultiple values in the SI system only. Okay, na? Then first one is serial number, multiple factor, and prefix and symbol. Okay students, so serial number, multiple factor, prefix and symbol. Multiple factor means by which number, by which factor, by which power factor we can multiply with that particular value. Then prefix means, so what do we call this? What do we call this? Power factor. Okay na? At the same time, symbol means by which symbol we can represent this prefix value. Okay now students, let us discuss now. Serial number 1. So multiple factor, for suppose there is a 10 power 1 or simply 10. If you multiply that unit value with 10, then we call it as a deca. We call it as a deca, which is represented by dA. Which is represented by dA. Okay students. The second one is, number 2 is, if you multiply the unit with 10 square. Okay students, 10 square, 10 power 2. We call it as a hecta or hecta, which is represented by small h. And third one is, third multiple factor and third multiple submultiples are, if you multiply with 10 cube, 10 power 3, we call it as a kilo, so which is represented by capital K. And the fourth one is, if you multiply with 10 power 6, we call it as a mega. We call it as a mega, and which is represented by capital M. The fifth one is, if we multiply with 10 power plus 12 plus 10 power plus 12, we call it as a peta, which is represented by capital P. And the sixth one is, if we multiply this unit with 10 power plus 15, 10 power 15, so we call it as a femto. Sorry students. If you multiply with 10 power plus 12, we call it as a tera, which is represented by T. And if you multiply with 10 power plus 15, we call it as a peta, which is represented by this capital P. And the seventh one is, if we multiply with 10 power plus 18, we call it as a hexa, which is represented by E. And eighth one is, if we multiply with 10 power plus 9, we call it as a giga, which is represented by capital G. Okay students, once again, these are the multiple factors, multiple values of the units when we convert the value from one system, mean one unit to another unit. Okay students, number one is If we multiply the unit with 10 power 1 or simply 10, we call it as a deca, which is represented by dA. If we second one is if we multiply with 10 square, we call it as a hectare, which is represented by h. If we multiply the unit with 10 power 3, we call it as a kilo, which is represented by k. If we multiply with 10 power plus 6, we call it as a mega, which is represented by m. If we multiply with 10 power plus 9, we call it as a giga, which is represented by capital G. At the same time, if we multiply the unit with 10 power plus 12, we call it as a tera, we can represent it by the capital T. And if you multiply the unit with 10 power plus 15, we call it as a peta, and the prefix is a peta, which is represented by capital P. And if we multiply the unit with 10 power plus 18, we call it as a exa, which is represented by capital E. Okay now students, then these are the multiple values of the units. And let's go to discuss about the submultiple values of the units. Okay now students. Right. Once again, so we are discussing about the submultiple values only. So number one is submultiple values. For suppose if you multiply this any unit with 10 power minus 1, we call it as a deci. We call it as a deci, which is represented by small d. If you multiply with 10 power minus 2, we call it as a centi. The prefix name is centi, and we call it as a, which is represented by cm, a centimeter, simply c. Okay, then number 3 is if we multiply this any unit with 10 power minus 3, we call it as a milli. Which is represented by small m. Students, it is very important, don't confuse here. This is the milli only, this is the prefix of millimeters. Okay, this is the prefix of this 10 power minus 3, and which is represented by small m only. We don't consider it as a meter. Okay, then fourth one is if we multiply any value with minus 6, 10 power minus 6, we call it as a micro. The prefix is micro, which is represented by mu. And the fifth one is if we multiply with 10 power minus 9, we call it as a nano. Which is represented by small n. At the same time, the sixth one is if we multiply this unit value with 10 power minus 12, we call it as a pico. Which is represented by small p. Seventh one is 10 power minus 15. For suppose if you multiply with any unit with 10 power minus 15, we call it as a femto. Which is represented by f. And eighth one is if we multiply with 10 power minus 18, we call it as a atto. The prefix is atto, which is represented by 80. Okay students, these are the units and submultiple units of the multiples and submultiples values. So by use these values, we can convert any value from one unit to another unit. If you want to change that value of the unit, value of the physical quantity from decimeters to centimeters, or centimeters to micrometers, or micrometers to picometers, vice versa, whatever it may be. Okay, now we can change that value from one unit to any other units only. These are the uses of the multiple values and submultiple values of the units. Okay now students, so if we can understand this one, okay now let's go to a small conversion based on these things only. Okay now, let us do a small conversion based on this one. First one is convert the value of 6.4 into 10 power minus 12 centimeters to micrometers. Centimeters to micrometers. Students, first of all, once again write the question and 6.4. How do we solve this problem when you face this kind of conversion, this kind of problem from physics? 6.4 into, write once again the question, 10 power minus 12 centimeters are given, which is converted from the centimeters to micrometers. This is the question. In this case, how do we convert this value? First of all, let us write this one aside. 1 centimeter is equal. First of all, we have to convert. There is no direct relation between centimeters to micrometers only. But we have to convert this value from centimeters to meters. After that, from meters to micrometers. Now, there is a relation between centimeters to meters as well as from meters to micrometers also. So, we have to convert this value from, first of all, centimeters to meters. After that, meters to micrometers. Okay, students? First of all, 1 meter is equals to how many centimeters, students? 10 square centimeters. As well as 1 centimeter is equal to how many meters only? 10 power minus 2 meters. Because of keep the centimeters here, send this 10 square outside, it becomes to the fraction. If you send this value from denominator to numerator, it becomes to the minus 2. So 1 centimeter is equal to 10 power minus 2 meters. As well as 1 micrometer. Micro means how many, students? 10 power minus 6. Here micro means 10 power minus 6. But here what is the unit here? Meters. Micrometers. Then 1 micrometer is 10 power minus 6 meters. Then 1 meter is equal to how many micrometers, students? 10 power plus 6 micrometers. Now let us take this value, substitute in the given units only. Then that is equals 6.4 into 10 power minus 12 centimeters. Then after that, first of all, let us convert this value from centimeters to meters. Then 6.4 into 10 power minus 12 as usual. Then centimeters to meters means 1 centimeter is equals to how many meters, students? 1 centimeter is equals to 10 power minus 12 meters. Okay, students? That is equals to minus 2 meters. Then 6.4 into base is same, powers we have to add. Minus 12 minus 4, so minus 2, so means minus 14 meters. That is equals 6.4 into 10 power minus 14 as this into meters to, I guess second step is from meters to micrometers. 1 meter is equals how many micrometers, students? 10 power plus 6 micrometers. So that is equals 6.4 into base is same, powers we have to add. Minus 14 plus 6, that is equals to minus 8 micrometers. So therefore 6.4 into 10 power minus 12 centimeters value, which is equals to 6.4 into 10 power minus 8 micrometers. So this is the method which is converting the value from one unit to another unit. Centimeter is the easiest unit of the length and micrometer is multiple units of the length only. Okay, na? Well, this is the method to solve this, to convert the value from centimeters to micrometers. Similarly, we can convert any value, any unit value from one unit to another unit only. Okay, na? This is the method. So students, this is the end of today's class only. If you like this video, please share and like this video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Okay, na? And click on the bell icon for getting the first notification. Students, thank you very much, and let us meet in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.